Hello, my name is Joshua and I have a story to share with you about my life. I lived a normal average life growing up until one day something crazy happened causing all that to change. I hope you enjoy this story and may it inspire or even impact you in a great way, through my eyes. A true story. From where life started. I was born on December 4, 1990 in Jacksonville, North Carolina to two wonderful parents, Iris and Ernesto Rivera. I also grew up with two older brothers who were also twins, so you can only imagine how that went. Most of my memories from when I was a kid were made where I grew up in Jamaica Beach, a neighborhood down at the west end of Galveston. I lived there until 2004, then the parents decided that it was time to move. Ever since I was little I never really struggled in making friends. I didn't have a bunch, but at least I was able to make a little handful. My parents, especially my dad, taught us to respect others. We later found a house located in Santa Fe, Texas. One of the good things about this place that my family came to realize quickly was that everyone seemed to be very friendly and laid back. Our neighbors are very friendly as well. I missed the first day of high school because I decided to go on a trip up to New Jersey with my dad. The trip was to go grab an ice cream truck and drive it back. That took way longer than we had expected due to some mechanical issues. My first day of high school is here. For once I had realized what it felt like to be the new kid. I didn't have any trouble at all making friends in high school, even with being the new kid. I actually got into a band pretty quickly. They found out I was a drummer and really wanted one that could play. I've been playing the drums since I was about 6 years old. I used to play at my church back when I was 9, but we decided to move on. I got my sense of rhythm from my mom. She's played the congas since I could remember. At 15 years old and only having my permit, I was able to get a great running truck for $1,000. The truck belonged to my friend Bo. And he had gotten a new truck. So he wanted to sell it to me. I was ready to turn 16 so I can finally drive legally. Ever since I was very little my life was about cars and music. My dad has been taking me to car shows since I was very little. I always loved buying Hot Wheels, and playing racing video games. After I had gotten my license, I had my fun for a while. If you want to have fun you're definitely going to need gas money. So it was time for me to stop asking for $5 and for me to get a job. My first job was at McDonald's. I was set to be the burger man. I was the one that cooked the patties. That job lasted for about a week and a half. I really enjoyed doing the job. Just a normal day, or is it? It was Wednesday, March 19, 2008. It was also my day off work. My phone ringing was what woke me up, and it was a call from my dad. He called because his truck ran out of gas and he was stuck on the highway. It was a good thing he wasn't but a few miles away. After I took the gas to him, we both drove back to the house. He had already been on his way out by the time I was getting out of my truck. "Have a nice day, Dad." "Bye," I said. "I'll see you later on, son." "I love you," my dad says. "I love you too, Dad," I replied. As I watched his truck drive away and with it just being a normal day, not a single thought came to my mind about how my life was going to change in a big way, and I was not prepared for it. In a blink of an eye, I woke up after a bad dream really scared. I was in a dark room in an unfamiliar place. "Mom, Dad?" I said in panic. "Joshua, are you alright?" asked a soft voice. "Where are my parents? Where am I at?" I asked. "Just go back to sleep, everything is okay," she tells me. "Okay," I said, laying my head down, swiftly falling back to sleep. The next morning arrives as my monitor wakes me up. "Good morning, Josh, did you sleep well?" he asks. "I think so, I had a bad dream," I told him. "Well, come on, it is time for breakfast," he says. "First we need to get you washed up and ready," he said. He helped me with getting dressed, putting toothpaste on my toothbrush along with getting the toothbrush wet, and the other things included with preparing for the day. We went to the cafeteria and waited on the cart that brings us our food. When we receive our food, he began to feed me like a parent would a small child. Keep in mind that I'm just going with it at this point, because I have no idea what is going on. Every morning during breakfast one of the staff members would come and interview me. They would ask me questions like, "Joshua, do you know why you are here?" Another question they would ask me would be, "What do you remember about your accident?" I would usually reply back with, "Going to sleep, then waking up here." That was the best answer that I could give them at the time. After breakfast we were off to our daily routine. A couple of therapy sessions, lunch, then my favorite part of the day, which was called hang time. Hang time was a lot of fun because we got to do different activities or even go out. For my memory, and speech. I was in speech therapy. I had problems with remembering little things and my speech was not the best. I would slur my words every so often. The exercises really helped me. For helping me getting off my wheelchair to relearn how to balance myself so I could walk again, there was physical therapy. Physical therapy was my least favorite and the most painful. The whole time I was trying to stretch a muscle that wouldn't stretch without surgical help. I had cognitive therapy to help me retrain my arms and hands. Occupational therapy helped me relearn how to do the things that I needed daily. After a couple of months have passed, it was finally time to move on to the next level of the recovery process. Home? Just when I thought that next step was going to take me home, it actually landed me in another recovery center that was called the Transitional Learning Center. My parents told me that I still need more time to become more independent. I still went on with the same daily routines as I did back in the other rehabilitation center. The only difference is that there is a bit less of the assistance around, and more intense on the rehab. I had great therapists all around that helped me out in different areas. One of the things that I liked about this place was that it was closer to home. Therefore, it made it rather easy for my family to visit on weekends. Hurricane season was about to end for the year, but Galveston was about to catch the worst of it. A hurricane that went by the name Hurricane Ike was in the Gulf and was making its way toward our direction. We got word that they are issuing a mandatory evacuation for Galveston and Galveston County. The next morning arrives and we are moving quickly to get some clothes packed for the road. "Where are we going?" I asked. "We are going to Conroe to stay at a campsite for the night until the storm passes," says Mrs. Zelma. The next morning arrives. Ron, a staff member, comes into the cabin. "I have news about what's going on," he started with. "Our facilities in Galveston are flooded. The good news is that there is a TLC in Lubbock that is letting us accommodate some rooms for the time being." Back on the road after breakfast. The ride was a lot longer than I thought it would be. After we had gotten there we get assigned to our temporary dorm rooms. It was easy getting acquainted with the staff from this facility. On the following Monday we had started with our daily routine again. While I was up there I had some great experiences, and met some great people as well. Lubbock also had some interesting places to visit. On Halloween it was finally time for me to transfer back. They sent me with my speech therapist to fly back down to Houston. She was going to meet up with her parents who live in Houston. Not too much longer after we had gotten off the plane we had found her parents, which were very lovely people. "Your ride should almost be here, Josh," said Jane Ann. When we had finally met up with Demetria, which is who was taking me back to the Galveston crew, we went ahead and grabbed my suitcase and started to walk back to the Suburban. "So where are we staying at now?" I asked. "We made some connections with an old folks home in League City," she replied. The good part about where we were staying was that it wasn't too far from my home. Due to that I was able to see and hang out with my family more often. So after getting back into my daily routine, physical therapy was probably the worst for me. The reason why it was so bad was because due to my head injury the muscle in my left leg had spasms causing it to be unbelievably tight. I had surgery to give me some help stretching it, thankfully. On December 19th I graduated out of the program. The rehabilitation was not over yet even though I was back home. My parents would walk me up and down the street to help me get my walking back in order. I also needed to build up endurance and get my balance back. A teacher from the high school comes to my house to ask me if I wanted to get back into school. She had first started with explaining to me the connections they have made, and also the assistance I will be receiving. I gave her a big yes to getting back in school. "Are you sure about this?" asks my mom. "Yes," I said, looking back at her. "I want to graduate. I want to be able to feel great about myself walking across that stage on my graduation," I said. "Well, okay then," says Miss Crawford happily. I finished the rest of the remaining semester, and followed with summer school. I had to stay for 2 more years to regain my credits back. Soon enough I had found myself walking across the football field in my cap and gown as they called my name. Just in case you were wondering what happened. On March 19, 2008 I suffered a traumatic brain injury as a result of my truck falling on my head. Everything in my life changed after this occurred. If I can make the best of things after something like this happening, I know that you can do anything too. My life may never be the same, but hey, at least I still have it. God bless everyone.